Hi, welcome to Naturally Curious Minnesota. I have more winter tree ID for you. We're going to look at a few trees, quick IDs for these ones. All right, this tree is one of our deciduous trees that still has its leaves on it due to marcescence. So easily identified as an oak tree, but what kind of oak tree? Let's take a closer look. Here's a quick look at that bark. It comes off in some furrowed plates and it is kind of whitish. And here are those oak leaves on there. You can see the lobes and they are rounded. This tells us that this is in the white oak group. So just by taking a quick look at the bark and a quick look at those leaves, we know it's an oak tree and we know that it's a type of white oak tree. Easy identification. You can, of course, narrow this down to what kind of white oak tree it is by looking closely at the buds and the scales on there, the leaf scars as well, and of course the acorns. But for quick ID, just looking at this tree with the bark and the leaves still on it, we can narrow it down to a white oak type of tree. Here's another tree that's easy to identify just by looking at its bark. This is a black cherry tree. You can see that the bark is kind of peeling off, and it even looks a little bit like those burnt potato chips that you might find at the bottom of the bag. And if we look closely on here, you might even be able to see little stripes. Those little stripes are something called lenticels. The lenticels are spaces along the trunk with the bark that help with gas exchange. So getting in that carbon dioxide, releasing that oxygen, as well as some water vapor. So black cherry tree will have this burnt potato chip, peely bark looking type of trunk. Okay, here's another tree that we're going to identify by its bark. Right, here's a close-up look at some of the older bark. Kind of looks like burnt potato chips, but it's a little bit different. Here is some of the younger bark. Look how it's very peely, and it has a little bit of a whitish to reddish color to it. And here is a young branch coming off from the main stem of the trunk. Notice how it's red, and notice how it has those lenticels growing all along the side of the branch. Those are for gas exchange. You can see some of the leaves on here as well. Here's a close-up look at some of those leaves. So what kind of tree do we have? Well, it does have similar bark to the black cherry tree, but the coloration and the fact that it's very peely on the younger parts of the tree and that red looking newer branch on there and the leaf shape as well tells us that this is not a black cherry tree. It is in fact a type of birch tree. This is a river birch tree. They like to grow where it's a little bit wet, hence the name river birch. So these ones also pollinate through wind. So if you have allergies in the springtime, this might be one of the culprits. They have catkins that come off of them as well. I can show you a picture of those real quick. Here is another tree we can do by the bark, twigs, and even the seeds that are left behind. Here's a twig. We can see that there is some opposite branching going on, and look what's there. Those are samaras. Those are our helicopter seeds, the seeds of this tree. So taking a quick look at the bark, the multiple stems there, and then the twigs, they're opposite branching. We see samaras, those helicopter seeds on there. What kind of tree is it? We can narrow it down to a maple tree. It's a mad horse, maple ash dogwood, or horse chestnut. And because of the shape of the tree and the bark there, and then those tiny little samaras that we have on there, I know it's a box elder tree. Box elder, type of maple. So those are just a few trees that I taught you how to identify just by using the bark and a few other clues. Get out there this winter, look for those trees, and as always, stay curious.